All right, Shalom. I want to start by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Shabbat Shah, by Ciroc, the abundance of the apostle and elders, a great millstone, and Shalom to all the Akim out there pushing the word of sincerity and in truth. Yeah, this the brother Balls off from Great Millstone, Atlanta, and I just want to go into this lesson on acquiring strength in these times so that you could sustain in the time of Jacob's trouble. You know, we're in the last days. You know, it's 2019 going into 2020, and 2019 has been a horrible year. You know, it's been all kind of clashes with the citizens and the governments, whether in the UK or the European lands, South America, Chile, you know, Venezuela, you know, the list goes on and on, Mexico, you know, and it's only going to go down here from here, you know, as we're familiar, of course, the time of Jacob's trouble, which is biblical prophecy, it said is known to try all men that's on the face of the earth. You know, and when it says the time of Jacob's trouble, it's not only talking about the 2/3 of the nation of Israel. It's also referring to the 1/3 of the nation of Israel too. They're going to be tried in the time of Jacob's trouble. When we speak about the famine that is soon to approach, according to the Bible, the pestilence outbreak, martial law, the mark of the beast, all these different prophetic apocalyptic events, we're not speaking like we're just going to be from an aerial view, or we're going to be in the background. We're going to be in the midst of all this hell too. You know, we just pinpointing or laying out the trailers of the scene that we're going to have to personally walk through, you know, and that's why in these times now, it will behoove each and every one of us, brothers, to be as spiritually and mentally strong as possible so that we can sustain in that day, you know, because each and every one of us are going to get tried individually to our breaking point. You know, it's going to get to a point where if our faith is at a top notch, if our faith and our mind is not on in its highest peak, then we will succumb to all the elements that's to pursue us and to attack us. And the so-called white man, he's working in the back, man. He's working in the background, and he's created all these different layouts and formats to break the souls of Jake. You know, the New World Order is around the corner, and one thing that they want from all citizens is compliance and conformity. Now, the scriptures tell you in Romans the 12th chapter how we're not conformed with the ways of the world. So, to a certain degree, we deform, or as the scripture says, we're transformed. We stand above this place, and these devils are going to do whatever in their initial interest to make us be in accord or be in unification in this place by either being compliant, taking a chip, and actually manipulating our thoughts to be regulated upon the system, or putting us to death. Now, of course, we know the option to take through the Spirit of the Lord, you know, death above, you know, bowing to the so-called white man, you know, as our forefathers were tried and tested with death, and they were willing to lose their lives for the sake of that which is just, that which is good. And we're going to have to keep the same spiritual adamancy and a spiritual and mental fortification for the times that are soon to approach. So I'm going to jump straight into the scriptures. This is 2 Corinthians 12, and I'll start at 10. Therefore I take pleasures in infirmities and reproaches and necessities and persecutions and distresses for Yahweh Shah's sake. For when I am weak, that I am strong. Right, so the Apostle Paul, he went through infirmities, reproaches, necessities, persecutions, and that was a day-to-day thing. It was always a wildfire of hell that he had to go through to be proven worthy to serve Yahweh Shema Shah. You know, and he was willing to go through those elements of suffering to be proven worthy, you know. And the Lord is going to take us all through the same common ringer to see if we're of the elect or not, you know, because the elect, as it is written in Ciroc, the 2nd chapter, it says that they are going to be tried as gold is tried through the furnace of adversity. And of course, gold, silver, precious elements, precious stones, in order to detect or discern which are true from the full artificial minerals. You have to put it through the heat in the furnace, and that the purging of fire shows what a man's worth is, or shows the element's worth. And in that spirituality, the Lord is going to do the same thing to each and every one of us. So it says, I am become a fool and glorying, ye have compelled me. Which really, that's the main point I wanted. I'm going to finish this verse. It says, for I ought to have been commended of you, for in nothing am I behind the very chiefest apostles, though I be nothing. And he had a humble approach, and that's why he was willing to take so many lashes and catch so much hell for the truth's sake. And it wasn't just the Apostle Paul. I'm just going into certain writings of honorable men, which all the men are, of course, honorable, but in particular, Apostle Paul, when you read about Ezekiel, you read about Jeremiah, Isaiah, Abraham, Noah, all those men, Hebrews the 11th chapter, and various other scriptural mentions, they were always bigged up for the amount of integrity and the amount of faith that they endured and kept and retained through the lowest points, and we're going to all have to face an extreme low, but it's all about how we react to our sobering situations. So I'll read this in 2 Corinthians 13:9. For we are glad when we are weak, and ye are strong, and this also we wish, even your perfection. Right. So even in certain men's lows, because even though, like I said in this lesson, we have to acquire strength, it's times where you're going to feel weak. But it's always about fighting and keeping your head up, even when you're at your lows, not even showing it amongst brothers, making it seem like you're not even going through things. And not just to the point of internalizing, but you deal with situations like a man, as it is written, gird up thy loins like a man. I demand of thee. The Lord demands us to be at our peak in these times now. When you watch these, which a lot of brothers are into sports, when you watch these sports and they get down to the finals and the playoffs and things of that nature, emotionalism and all that, which that can't come into sport anyways. If your spirit is into emotions, your spirit should be in a passion, But when you get to certain points of the sport of things, you have to have tunnel vision, meaning you have to be solely focused upon winning. Not attempting, not basically, only trying, you giving it all you got. You have confidence that you are going to win and you're going to defeat the opposition. And we have to have that same amount of faith that we are going to win. It's not, I'm going to try, Elder Ariella did a lesson on that, that try spirit, I might, all these different unsureties. This truth is not being, is about being unsure. It's about being sure. We're known as, and when you read Colossians, the 3rd chapter, it speaks about being grounded and rooted. So you have to be sure. You have to be steadfast. You have to be determined, to accomplish any and everything that's set before you through the power and spirit of Yahweh Shema Shah, of course. And if the Lord grants it, but, at the end of the day, you have to move with a level of strength. You have to move with a level of confidence. You have to move with a level of faith. All these elements have to be in you, and they have to be emitting to the upward, to the utmost. So this is Ciroc 48:22. For Ezekiel had done the thing that pleased the Lord, and was strong in the ways of David his father, as Isaiah the prophet, which was great and faithful in his vision, and had commanded him. Right. So Ezekiel was known to be strong in the ways of David his father. So he read about David. He learned of David. He seen the strength that David acquired in his highs or in his lows. He seen that he wasn't moved by the elements, the elemental things, even though, of course, David went off. We're all familiar with David's transgressions, but David still stuck on that, stuck in the narrow. He stuck in the lowest points until the Lord raised him up in due time. It was times that he had to even flee and go to the Philistines' lands and be a temporary dweller until he was able to acquire enough strength to leave where he was his location. It's the same thing now, man. You brothers that's you behind enemy lines, so to speak. We in the belly of the beast. We live in the Esau system. That's what I mean when I say behind enemy's lines. But you don't conform to the ways of the enemy. You take the lows and learn the system, learn your enemy, and grow strong to the point where you're able to break out of this prison, man. Scripture says the fool exile hasteth that he might, the captive exile hasteth that he might be loose from the prison. And being loose from the prison starts with your mind. Our minds have been entrapped and entangled by this system, and it takes a lot of spiritual and mental strength in order to break free. And we have to teach others. We have to give everybody else, which is the 1/3 and 144,000, the keys of this truth, so that they'll be able to escape themselves. You see, because everybody else that's gonna be locked in this system, they're gonna fall with it. It spoke about the strength of Pharaoh and individuals trusting in Pharaoh from the top to the bottom, from head to tail. They're gonna fall because they trust in the system. It speaks about how there's gonna be no work for Egypt, But we have our faith, and we have all of our marbles, in the bucket of the Lord. No other power. No other religion, no other plans. We just have divine faith attracted to the Lord. And I wanted to get this scripture to show, at the end of the day, it's going to be a lot of weakness out here. And we're going to see a lot of men double our size, triple our body weight, looking like damn near titans, breaking down damn near in a fetal position, wailing and crying their eyes out, man. You see? Because strength is not defined by how many, how bulky your six pack is, man. How big your triceps or your biceps is. That doesn't mean that you're a strong man. Your strength is defined by adversity and how you react and deal, integrity, moral character. All those things define who you are. But this is Ezekiel 7:17. All hands shall be feeble, and all knees shall be weak as water. Right. So all hands going to be feeble and all weak as water, because people are not going to know how to deal with the time of Jacob's trouble. But the scriptures speak about how we'll be able to deal with it, by what? Having faith in Yahweh Shema Shai. So, this is just a lesson for brothers, to keep your spirits up, keep your faith up, always maintain yourself, pray, of course, fast, keep a strong connection with your power and with the brotherhood. And like it tells you in 2 Peter, if you do these things, you shall not fall. So I want to end by giving all praise, honor, and glory to you. How about Shema Shai, by Ciroc, the honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom Akim.